here is eTakeoff. I have the site plan showing here for my usual La Quinta Inn project. And so the first thing we'll start here with eTakeoff and show you some things that we can do here. And so first thing is when I go to open a project, I've got a fair list of projects here, quite a list. And one of the things that I can do is I can go here to the View tab, and I can filter out that list. So I have a project list on the View tab, and I can say, you know what, I don't want to see, I want to hide that one, and let's go with the Bella Terra one, and the what the heck, this one, and this one here. So those four have been hidden, and I can close this. And now when I go to home and I go to open, my list is smaller. I don't have those projects. And it does tell me up here at the top that there are 4 hidden ones. So just simplifies your list a little bit, especially if you've got a lot of things going at once. To get them back, it's real simple. Just go back to the drawing list, or excuse me, not the drawing list, the project list, and uncheck the hidden box. And I do need to check them kind of slowly there. And so now they're back. Just as I've done that with the projects, I can also do it with drawings. So here's my drawing list down here in the lower left corner. And you can see I've got all my drawings are showing. The ones in bold are the ones that I have Takeoff on. And so let's see what we can do. I don't care about the interior elevations, let's say. So I can come up here to the drawing list, and I can say, well, there they are, and I can just click that hidden tab right there, and there, and there. Close this, and now I don't see those elevation drawings. Come back again and again. I can come back and unhide them as well. So let's try something here. If I went like this, through that, and did that. Nope, still got to do it this way. Okay, so makes my drawing list a little more compact. And I can, and though I didn't show you that, as we saw the number of hidden projects at the top of the list, it'll also show me the number of hidden drawings at the top of the list. Okay, so I'm going here to the site plan. The traces, you got the traces going here, and you know, as you're using eTakeoff, at least when I first started out using it, I'm easily confused, but I was really confused on this one. And so I would start out, and you know that if you go counterclockwise, it does a negative area. And if you're doing, you know, if you're taking out a donut or something in the middle of an area, that makes sense. But this is not an area. This is something that I want to have. That it should be a positive, right? I want it to be a positive area, not this negative. And so but how do I do that? Well, what I can do here is I can right click on this and go down here, and there's this flip rotate measurements, and there's reverse point order. When I do that, now I have a positive area. So if you make a mistake, you can go around and just right click and do that to make it. And if I reverse the point order, I'm back to where I started from. So you can do that. And once I discovered that one, I was really thrilled, because like I said, I started out first doing that a lot. Okay, so let's, and I'm going to jump around here a little bit. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and I've got these interior elevations. And if you've seen my other demos, you know that we can compare a new drawing to an old one. And so I'm going to do this, and I'll open up this one, and I can align it. And this is nice when you get a drawing that's just not quite perfect. You can move it up or down, left or right. You can rotate it up or down, left or right. And you can also align it, and you can also auto scale it. So if it's just slightly out of whack, you've got lots of options here to bring it back to where you want it. The idea here is that you get it to align up perfectly. And so that's what I've got here. You can see that I don't have any blue or red showing here or in these other elevations, but I obviously do here. And if I just selected this drawing comparison, and then what I can do here is, so I've got these, sorry, a little hiccup there. I can emphasize the new or emphasize the old, and that's good. But what I can do also is if I go over here to a trace, I can, let's see, it is move, where did it go? Where did it go? Copy the measurement. Where did it go? Move, copy annotations. I can, what I'm trying to find here is I can take these measurements or annotations and I can copy them to the new version. And so if I select the takeoff, and I got the takeoff here, let's do this one right here. And then I can, there is drawing, there we go, drawing comparison. There we are. All right. So I can move and copy these measurements and annotations, like from the new version, from the old version to the new version. And so if I do that, I can move them or I can copy them. And if you think about it for a second, moving them moves them off the old one onto the new one. And so there's nothing left on the old one. Or I can copy them. And if I copy them, do I want to copy the assignments from the old to the new, or do I just want to, or do I want to delete the assignments in the old? So I can do these things to move. As I'm getting new versions of the drawing, I can move the measurements from my original takeoff to the new drawing, and I can then revise them. If I was going to revise them, if you've used eTakeoff, then you're familiar with the excuse me, the edit points. And so I can edit the points, and then I can start to take this measurement and move it over like that. And I can take this one and move it over like that. And so it's not, obviously not perfect here, but you can take and add those or revise your measurements to match the new takeoff or the new drawing. All right, so continuing on here. One of the things you can do is you'll notice the control panels over here. Now you know that you can undock these control panels by just dragging them away like this. And I've got a control panel over here. I could do the same thing. That gives you more, obviously more screen real estate for your drawings, which might be a handy thing to have. I have a 32-inch monitor. I think ideally I'd like a little bit bigger one, but it works great for what I do. If you wanted to drag that back, drag it to that little arrow right there, and it docks it. And so that's great. One other thing that I can do is I can also go here to the View tab, and I can add another control panel. And so I get the control panel number 3. So there's 1 and 2's over here on the right. Here's 3. And I can drag and drop this right into the middle of this, like this. And now I have 2 control panels stacked one on top of the other. Here's control panel 1, down here's a tab in the lower corner. Here's control panel number 3. So I can have these here. I could, if I want to get rid of 3, I can grab it on the on its tab down here, and I can bring it back here to the drawing screen. So I can have as many control panels as I need to be able to do what I do best. So, and I can close that always as well. So adding control panels, hopefully that'll be handy for somebody. All right, so going here back to the drawings, let's go back to the drawings, and I want to go to one of my drawings here specifically because I know what's going on here, and it is this one, building sections. And so as I was talking to one guy one time, he made a very good point, is one of the first things he does when he gets these drawings is he checks the scale, because he knows that not all architects are real careful with the scales, or just things slips through the cracks. And so I've got this drawing here, and if I wanted to check this, I see this 46.8½ here for the building elevation. I can go here to the Annotate tab, and I can do a dimension. And so if I just did click this one, and I need to set the drawing scale, sorry, first. And it says the drawing scale is 1/8 inch scale. So I'm going to come up here I'm going to back here to home. And I'm going to set the scale to 1/8 inch equals a foot. And it's down here. There we go. There's 1/8 inch equals a foot. Click OK. And so now my drawing scale is set up here. And so back here again, I'm going to go to the Annotate tab. I'm going to go to the dimension. And I'm going to zoom in a little tighter because I want to get sort of accurate on this one. And so this 46.8 1/2. Let's get this right there. I'm going to click down here at the bottom. And I'm going to click up here at the top right there. Something's wrong. It says it's 70 foot 2 1/4. That doesn't seem right at all. So something's wrong with the scale. So this 1/8 inch equals a foot is wrong. Let's delete. Let's keep that annotation there right now. And what we'll do is we'll go back here to the Home tab and back here to the scale, and we're going to calibrate. And so I'm going to calibrate this and click on the first calibration point. And so I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to click right here on the extension line. And then I'm going to move that out of the way and click on the other extension line, keeping it as straight as I can. And there. All right, so it's 8.75 inches. The actual distance, though, is right here is 46 foot 8.5 inches. Click OK. And now my scale has been set here. So let's try another annotation just to see if I'm all right or I'm not. And I'll do this. And I'll do this. And now I've got 46 2 3/16, which is much, much closer. You could be more, you see how this dot is off just a little bit off the point. So I'm probably a lot closer to scale than I was in the beginning. So setting the scale, checking the scale, setting the scale so that you are working with a good scale is a great best practice to use when getting a set of drawings. Also, let's look at something else here. So if I go back here to the, let's go to the first floor plan. And I've got the floor plan up here. And what I want to do is I can have an extra drawing window up here. And so I've got this drawing window and it shows up on my other monitor, and I'll drag it over here like this. And what drawing do I want to see here? Well, I could go to the, let's go to that, back to that, the building section right there. And so now I've got the building section up here and I've got the plan there, and you'd have 2 monitors going with this, hopefully. Makes it a little easier, but I'm just going to use one here this morning, obviously. And so if I'm going to drag this out of the way, and so you can start to work with these 2, and you can say, well, here's my detail, and here's my drawing, and what do I do? How do I, some of the, if I'm looking at the interior walls, what are some of the measurements that I can enter? Looking at the detail sheet, maybe on this second window. The other thing you can do here is, on this second window, notice you can only do annotations. I can't do dimensions or anything like that on the second window, but I can go here. So all I can do is mark this up, right? But I can, what I can also do, just real quick here, is I can swap the drawings. So I can say, well, I'm on the elevation. I want to swap them out. So now I can swap back and forth between the 2 drawings that I've got, and I can swap that back. And so I'm back here again. Now let's say that I'm on this interior elevation, or excuse me, the floor plan, and I need to figure out the height of the wall. And I know that the elevation has it here. So I can go to the height of wall here, and what I'm going to do here is right click and quick takeoff, or I'm sorry, get quantity from existing measurement, and it does this, makes that yellow, and now I can go here to this drawing, and I can just simply do the measurement. Okay, all right, not that way. Quick takeoff. Let's do this. Quick takeoff, length, and I can go to this, and I can go like this. And there's, okay. Notice that it's entered 8.68 in my variable there. So you can do your takeoff on another sheet and enter a variable in here. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I needed the height, and I got it from another sheet. And then I have that other sheet. I can just go to here, and I can just close this down. Okay, so continuing on. Let's say I've got a new set of drawings, and I want to rename. I need to rename them. And so it just came in from the architect, and maybe it's one file with a whole bunch of drawings in it. Whatever you want to do, I need to rename some of these, so I can go here to the, let's go back, pick on the interior elevations again, and I can rename these. And so I can interior plan, I'm just going to take out the S here, interior plan and elevation, and then I can rename multiple drawings. So I do that. Also, if I am having a tough time reading the name of the drawing, I can zoom in down here, real nice and tight, and then I can say, I'm going to rename multiple drawings, so I can go next, and it's going to keep me in the same place where I can now come in here and rename this one, and I can rename, do a little bit here, go on to the next one and on, and it will keep me zoomed into this same place. So renaming, you do need to rename them manually, but it's got some nice features there to help you do that quickly. All right, let's see. So let's do this. I am back on the first floor plan, and I've got second floor plan, excuse me, and I've got all this carpet. And so I want to send this carpet to my carpet guy and say, hey, give me some ideas here for pricing. And one way that you can do that is I can go to, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so I don't need to see the whole drawing, a little tighter. There we go. And I can copy this current view to the clipboard. So I can do that. And then I can come over here and let's say I'm going to put it, I could put it in an email, but I'm going to put this in a Word doc just so we can see it quickly here. And then I can paste it. And so now I'm pasted that. Again, it could go into an email, Word doc, whatever you want it to do, but you can copy that current view into a document or an email for easy to send out. And so there's that. All right, so continuing on, and I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, but I want to make sure that I get a lot of different options for you. If I go here to the foundation plan, one of the control panels that I can do is called it's called filtering. So I can add the filtering to this, and I can start to filter things out. Actually, let's go back here to the second floor. Go back here. And if I look at this second floor plan before I filter anything, I've got some alternates. And so these, you can see that I've got quarry tile as an alternate number 2, and there's a resilient tile in there that's alternate number 1. So what I can do is I can come in here and say, you know what, let's base bid, and I want to show the base bid, or I can hide the base bid. Let's hide it for right now. So that it hides everything but those 2 alternates, and then I can see where they are located. There's what's part of them. It's not only the resilient and the quarry, but the rubber base and the tile base. And then I can bring this back out and like this, and I'm back to where I started from, right? Blank. So now I'm back. So you can use your filtering. Depending on how you have it set up, you can filter on these WBS codes. to start to see what's what and where on your plan. Also, let's okay. So we're back here on. Let's now again flip to the foundation plan, and let's say you've got all of these different slabs, and so we can filter by the system. Let's see what happens if we do this, and it's let's show all of those, and so it hides. Okay, well that didn't work, did it? So we'll hide those. Let's say that I need to change some variable. I got to change, and I need to change the depth of concrete, say, or something. So I can select these, and if I had my filtering set up right, I could select all of these really easily, right? I could just select them all, and I'm just going to select these. And then I can come in here, and I can edit the extension variables. And so if I do that, I get this. So now I can say, well, the depth of concrete in all of these went from 8 to 10. And we went to 3,500 PSI. Okay. And so now I've got all of those changed that easily. So, and again, if you had these set up with filtering or with the layering over here, so I've got these structural slabs, grade beams, and footings. If I click out of that, and then I just do the grade beams and footings, now I could multi-select these, and I could do the same thing much quicker. Right-click, edit extension variables. I'm going to have some various things in here, so I can go depth of gravel is 4 inches, depth of sand is 6 inches, concrete again is 10, and it's 3,500. So I've just cleaned that up, and now I've got everything going just right here for that. All right, so all the slabs have been changed. Let's see. One of the things, let's see, just reading my list here of things. And so let's go here just real quickly. If I go to the settings tab and I go to user preferences, these are all obviously my preferences and things, but if I go here to files, I've got this file extra scan extensions, doc and DXLS. You can see there's a Word doc, an Excel spreadsheet, and new version, older version, XLS and XLSX. There's DWG and JPEG and things. You can put any extension in here that you want, and it won't necessarily allow you to do takeoff on it, but it will allow you to view it in from within dimensions. And so you can have those different file types in there that you want to look at while you're doing your takeoff. And oh, last thing here, forgot about this one, but so I can open this project via list. I don't have to have. You can see I've done this, and I've got a nice clean set of PDFs here with set of drawings like this. But what if you don't have that? And so I can open this, and I have a Google Maps or Google Earth image here. I can do the same thing on this that I can do in Takeoff. And so you can see I've already done my takeoff of a little curb there. I'm going to delete that. But the key here is that I can get a Google Earth image, and I can do takeoff on it. And this is a coworker's subdivision that he lives in Boise, and right there in that house. And he needed to do some work for his homeowner subdivision, for his homeowners group, homeowners association. And so he needed to take off the length of these paths that are through here. And he did that like this one right here. And so he did that, and he did the same thing. He got a Google Earth image, and he set the scale down here at the bottom, just like we did on the other sheet. And he was good to go. And he did a takeoff, and he was very accurate compared to what the contractor actually did on site. And so the steps are, you need to get the image, and need to make sure that you have a scale down here in the bottom. And you set the scale, just like we did on that elevation drawing. And you come in here, the drawing distance is 3.125 inches, and it's 300 feet. And so you set that. And then you can come in here and you can zoom in, and you can do the curbing on the outside this time. So now I can start to do the curbing takeoff, and you would be a whole lot more accurate. And boom, 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 like that. And I need to enter the length here, and I don't have this mapped quite right yet. So I'll just say 280, and that one is ready to go. So I've entered curbing in here, and I'm good for that. So again, you can do your takeoff. The point is, you can do your takeoff on a Google Earth. You could then copy this view to the clipboard and send it to the in an email to the sub if you wanted to do that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to a little bit of change pace. I'm going to go back here to the project I was in, and I'm going to use this one to just generate a bunch of items to a spreadsheet so we have an estimate to work from. I'm going to do that by using Bridge. And so I'm in here in eTakeoff. I'm going to start a bridge. And it's going to launch here. It's going to say, there are no bridges. Do you want to create one? I'm going to say yes. And it is here. I'm just going to call it La Quinta. And I'm going to create a new estimate here. I'm going to call this one La Quinta as well. I like to change my name, the estimate name and the bridge name the same. Just helps me keep things straight. Click OK. Click OK. I've created a bridge. Again, this is the resource list. This is the list of assemblies that are in my Sage database, estimating database. Here's the items in my Sage estimating database. Drill down to the doors and the wood doors. And there's a list of my wood doors in the system. And the same with the assemblies. There's all my concrete assemblies here. All right. So not going to go into that. That's another demo for a different day. I can use this automatic button, and I've got quite a few different measurements that I can take, that I can generate to create an estimate. Use this click this hide assign button here real quick. So that's a way to just check to make sure that that all my measurements have been sent to the estimate. If I click this automatic button, it's going to send 97 assignments to the estimate pretty quickly. And so you can do this however you want to do it. And so I can say, okay, and then we are good to go. So that's it for eTakeoff. Let's go to Sage Estimating and see what we can do there. So minimize this. Here we are in Sage Estimating. If you've been in Pervasive before, this will look a little different. If you're using an older version of Sage Estimating, this is version 18.12, the latest and greatest. So I have Sage Estimating here, and one of the first things I wanted to do is show you the help. It's pretty good. I like the help. I go there every once in a while. But I've got it already started here, and so, well, yes, I do. Here we are. So here's Sage Estimating Help, and when I clicked on that, this is what I got. And what I wanted to show you here was, if I went down here, this is the index, and I went down to there we go, keyboard, and I went to the keyboard and I want to see the. Let's go down. Let's make this a little bit tall. There we go. I want to see the spreadsheet keys. And so let me do this. Maybe if I did this. There we go. I want to see the spreadsheet keys. And so if I click this, this is what I get. And so these are some nice, I remember using I've been around using estimating for a long time. I remember the DOS days when you could just press the F keys, press the control keys, and just jump around. And some guys were really, really fast doing that. And it can speed things up. So, you know, go to the first visible Control A and select the entire spreadsheet. Control D opens the detail window. Equipment jumps to the first equipment column. Toggle in the, let's see, go in the totals pane, the job size. You can see all these different ones. Control L, Control M, Control O, so you can do different things here, and I when I was first starting out, I had this printed out and just hung on a piece of paper over my desk. And so if I'm here and I go Control M, it jumps me to the first material column, or Control T jumps me to the first totals column. So there is that. Also, you'll notice I have this quick access toolbar right here. And when you first get estimating, it may be up here like this. I personally prefer to see it below the ribbon, just personal preference. But how do we, I would say that most of my time is spent on the home and the takeoff tabs as I'm working through an estimate. But maybe I want to have quick access to a report. And so what I can do is I can right click on this and I can say add to the quick access toolbar. I do that, and now I have this report here. So if I'm here and I just need to generate a spreadsheet report, I can click it and I'm into it without going to the reports tab. We can do the same thing with any other tab here. Add the things to the quick access toolbar. To remove it, you just remove it from the quick access toolbar. So you can add things to that pretty easily. Let's see. So let's talk a little bit about if I'm doing takeoff. I've got the default values. Now I've got a bit of a wide monitor here, but you can see what I do is I sometimes will dock the default values over here on the right. And so I can have that here, and I like to have that up. Sometimes, some folks will want it to float, which is fine too. You know how to use these things here. If I dock it over here, or I can do this. If I hit these arrows, you can see where it goes blue, and then I can dock that over there. So when you're doing takeoff, it's handy to have that if you're doing takeoff in Sage estimating and not pushing things over from eTakeoff. Also, I've got two estimates open here. You can see I've got La Quinta, which is the one we created here this morning. I also got this real little one, just a bath tile one. And so what I can do is I can say, you know what, I want to see both of these open at once. So I can drag this bath tile down here. And now I see bath tile on the right and La Quinta on the left. And so you could start, if you had La Quinta old and La Quinta new, you could start to scroll down and you need to get the sequences right and the spreadsheet layouts right, but then you could start to scroll through and compare on screen. You could compare two estimates side by side. And you can also, we have in the La Quinta one, we have these different things that we can do. So with the move copy. So I've got alternates here, and I've got all the alternates assigned. Let's go to estimator. All of those are assigned, but let's say some of these Babe things, the work that Babe did, actually Jud did. So I can move stuff around here, right? So I could take this, and all I'm doing is reassigning estimate or items from Babe to Jud. I'm not changing the values or anything like that, right? So I could just drag and drop these down to Jud like that, or I can two ways of doing the same thing. I can do this, and I can move copy, and I can move them from Babe to, let's go to Jud. What the heck? And okay, and so I can just keep doing that as well if I wanted to. I can also copy an item here as well. I could copy this. And so I can copy it from one, I copy it if I was in group phase, I could copy it from one phase to another or something like that. So you can copy and move within an estimate. Between two estimates, you can copy. You can't move, but you can copy. So if I do this, I'm going to do it by group this one by assembly, and you'll see that this is, if I group this one by assembly, this is assembly 0910 dash. And if I look here, I do not, there we are. I do not have this assembly in my La Quinta estimate. what I can do is I can take this and I can do this and I can drag it and drop it into that estimate. And now it's added to my estimate. So if you have something in one estimate that works just right for something in another estimate, you can just drag it and drop it like I did. All right, and you are copying it. You are not moving it. You are doing a copy. So that is a important distinction there. All right, let's do this. I'm going to get rid of our bath tile one here. I can just drag that up like that, and now I just see La Quinta. All right, so one of the things we had here was we're able in stage estimating to work with alternates. And so one of the things I wanted to show you is that we can work with deductive alternates as well. And so if I do takeoff, let's just do this really quickly, assembly takeoff, and I'm just going to pick an assembly here real quickly. There we go. And I'll just do this epoxy floor coating. What I can do here is if I'm doing takeoff here, I can enter in a -1, and I could say it's 1,000 square feet. Now I've got a -1,000 square feet. This is a deductive alternate now. I can also get my this up here. If I've done takeoff before, I should have brought this up before, but I can assign an alternate to it here. I can say Alt 3 deduct 4. Okay, so I can have that. Click OK. Let's close this, and now I've got deduct the epoxy floor coating here for an alternate, and you'll notice that my takeoff quantity is negative. So you can do that there. You can do the same thing in eTakeoff. If I've got like say a wall that's a deductive alternate, I can do the same thing. I do my takeoff in eTakeoff, but I make sure that when I do that, I enter a -1 in that quantity. All right, so you can do deductive alternates here as well as additive alternates. And so let's see here. Also, let's say you're doing takeoff and you're doing, let's say we're doing item takeoff, and I go here to masonry, for example, and this one. You'll see that I have this add new item. So I can add a new item really quickly here by just doing this. And here's what shows up down here. If I just leave this like this, it's a one-time item, but I could enter in a new item. Let's call this item number 12. 12 here. I can change the description to and the quantity is 5 each, and I can generate that to the estimate. And so phase item, it was down here. Let's collapse this down a little bit. Go down to the 4s, double click that, and there it is, right there. So I can add new, and that is a setting that is here in the options, and it is takeoff, nope, general. Where is it here? And it is, there we go, include add new item on takeoff lists. So when that checkbox is checked, I get that little option there for each phase of my as I'm doing my takeoff. All right, so let's see. Let's go to the totals here. Totals page, and you know that you can. We have these. I got my real simple totals page here. You can, if I was to say I had in the info here, and I said this job size was 30,000 square feet, there. Okay. Now I get this. So it's pretty darn reasonable cost there. But let's say that the boss comes in at like they usually do 10 minutes before the bid's due and says, you know what, you need to be at 24 and you need to be at 24 a square foot here. And so you just say enter in 24 here, and you know that you need to find $26,000 in this estimate. I am going to expand this back up here, and I'm going to save that change. And I'm back here to where I can see all this different detail here in the estimate. And I can say, you know what, I know that if my material amount is, I can, of course, spread that. If I want to do it, I can spread in individual little areas. I can say, you know what, let's say the labor productivity, I know that we could probably do this job quicker. So I'm going to change this one to 6 cubic yards an hour. Do you want to change duplicate items? I'm going to say yes. That changed it. That changed this number just a little bit. I can come in here and just say, we're going to just mark down the labor. We're going to say that we're just going to be really efficient. So we're going to say minus 2%. And all of these are adjusted for us. And now we only need to find $20,000. And so you can say, I can go back to my material. Let's go to the material view here. And it's right there. And my material amount, I can say, you know what? We're really good. We're going to say it's minus 5% because we always pay by the 10th of the month. Our accounting department is really good. And now I only need to find $7,300. So what I can do is just work my way through this. If I want to do it really quickly, I can just go here to adjust column, and I'm just going to spread $7,300. And I do that, and I've marked down my whole estimate equally, and now I'm within $3. So the good news is there, you're doing all of this, and your your accounting department is happy because your estimate matches what the boss said you need to have. So everybody is doing well there. You know that you can on here you can have different templates. So add for the different views of your totals. And so I've got different ones here. There's JY standard, and I've got some that I've done. Here's one I did yesterday. I'm going to replace the existing total page and we'll clear the clearance. That's okay, but you can see just a different template here. And so you can have different templates, different clients, different jurisdictions, whatever you needed to do, different project types. You can have different bottom line totals, different configurations for it. And this one, these are hidden. These columns will always be hidden whenever I print reports, or if I choose to when I print reports. So did that. So we've got that, and so let's do some other stuff up here. Let's bag this for a second, and I'm going to say what I can do here. If I like this, I can finalize the adjustment. Okay, and now that becomes my official total. All right, now let's go to Takeoff. And what I can do too is if I've been real diligent and I've gone in and I've updated my prices and things, I can go in here and I can say, you know what, I want to update some prices, but I don't. It's just some of them, and so I'm going to insert that column here, and this insert column is update database. So I can click OK, and so now I can go in here and I can say, you know what, I updated this price, and I updated this price. Update those prices, and I can I can update the prices from the estimate to the database. I haven't changed anything. So I can also reprice it from the database. So if I've goofed things up and I want to go back, I've got that. So options here for repricing your database, updating your database here, and doing that. And I've got to figure, yeah. So you can update your database or update your estimate that way. Let's see. Let's go here to reports, and I've got some. Obviously, the reports here. So I've got my spreadsheet. Let's make sure that my spreadsheet is looking the way I want it to. I can group again. I got sequences and layouts, so I can group it any way I want to, and so I can. Let's do something here. Let's go to. Let's collapse this down a little bit, like this. Now, if I go to a report and I go to the spreadsheet report, I have some report options. I'm going to say that I want my standard one, report options, and I can pre-fill the spreadsheet. So if I pre-fill the spreadsheet, it's going to do this for me. I can go to the page layout. I want it to be landscape and legal and 1 page wide, and I can preview that. And it is going to basically put that spreadsheet right on my report. And so I've got that really quickly. I can get my report out. I can also, I can export this to, I can export this out as well. So I can export this to Excel. And I won't do it here this morning, but you can select Excel, and it does it. The reason I'm not going to do it is it does take a few minutes to do it, and we don't need to sit here and watch Excel process. But you can export it to Excel, and when you do, some of the, well, let's go ahead and do it. What the heck? We'll do it, and we'll just say that it's, okay, it's going to, okay. And so it's going to process it, and it does do some formulas. And if I especially have some item formulas, it will do some row formulas for me. And let's go open up Excel. And it doesn't include all formulas, but it does include a good chunk of them. So let's go back here to desktop, and there it is. And so there's my cover page, and here's my report. And so I don't have, if I had, there's a sum here, so you can see that there's the number and there's the formula there. If I had items in this, I summarized it to the phase level. If I had items in it, it would include some of the calculations here that were part of the item calculations for like productivity and things like that. So you can export to Excel. All right. Let's see. So we can, let's do this. Let's go here. And I've got something here that, okay, so I've got a group by floor, back to the spreadsheet. So I've got our floor, and I can collapse this down so I can see everything that's just, I can start to see totals just by floor, or materials just by floor if I wanted to do that. If I wanted to summarize one part of an estimate while leaving the others expanded, I can just double click on it. And so now I've summarized the first floor while leaving the second, and the non-floor expanded. So I can do that. And so you can selectively summarize here any way you want. And I can, if I double click on that, I can add some detail. So, and then you could export to a report if you wanted to. So lots of options there. So that's, let's see, that's kind of what I wanted to show you this morning. And so thank you for your time today. Appreciate it very much. And have a great rest of your day.